I survived. Welcome back. All right, so 15 games today. Some tremendous results tonight. And we have 14 games on Monday. So as busy as today was, and there are 4 boards I went through today, I will also go through 4 on Monday. Which has me thinking, if I had Derek Forbert's signature on 4 of them, I could say they're my 4 boards of Forbert, or Forbert's 4 boards. Or my 4 boards. I had that idea last night. It's ridiculous. Therefore, I'll throw it into the video at the start. All right, we're going to start off with the team I'm wearing the jersey for, the New York Islanders. So, boy, did they know how to squash the Rangers' hopes or what? It's a double whammy. The Islanders clinch themselves a playoff spot, and they basically wipe out any hope the Rangers have for coming back. I blame Jackie Redmond. Anyways, she said the Rangers were coming, and I know a lot of people jumped on the whole Rangers bandwagon, and I honestly, I would love to have seen them, be able to make it. The problem was they got hot too late. They were just too far back. It was too much ground to make up. So the shots were 3-0 Islanders at 3 minutes. It also doesn't help that this division is loaded. Beauvillier would score from Bailey and Leddy at 4 minutes and 39 seconds. There were no shots for the Rangers at this point. Yeah, the Islanders were really, really holding them down. Dobson gets a chance. That was sent wide. Nelson then fires a chance wide. And in the midst of all this, Varlamov sets a shutout record for the New York Islanders. Yep. Power play for the Rangers. It's not successful. Barzal would score from Bailey at 16:22 to make it 2-0. So we go to the second period. Beauvillier scores early from Nelson and Bailey at 1:02. So up until here, I'm saying, all right, am I going to... No. All right, so it's done. There's no way the Rangers were scoring 3 against the Islanders. It was going to be tough enough to score 1. Rangers would get a power play, unsuccessful. The Islanders get a power play, also unsuccessful. In the third, the shots were 2 apiece at 5 minutes, and at that point, the Rangers start generating opportunities, but they're down by 3. Pajot had exited the game at this stage as well. I haven't heard anything about who got hurt tonight or for how much. And before anybody asks, there's nothing on the board really about guys who got hurt or didn't. That'll be news of the day tomorrow, because odds are on a night like this, there's a lot of players who exited games, and we'll see how long they're out over the next day or two. Islanders had a 2-on-1 that misfired. Bailey would miss a prime chance to make it 4-0, but they win this one 3-0. With the clinch, they moved to 31-15-5. The Rangers dropped to 26-20-6. 3 stars, Varlamov, Bailey, and Beauvillier. So about halfway through the season, I remember seeing protected list for the Islanders, like a projected one, and the idea being, well, Beauvillier is probably going to be the one that goes from the Islanders because he's off to a slow start, and that was it's really stuck out for me because of all the players I read that they were proposing probably go in expansion. I was like, there's no way Beauvillier is going to be the guy to go. So the shots, 13-10 Islanders in the first, 8 apiece in the second, 10-4 Rangers in the third. They actually outshoot the Islanders in the game 28-25. Power plays, Rangers 0 for 2, Islanders 0 for 1. Hits, 27-23 for the Islanders. Blocks, 17-12 for the Islanders. Georgiev, 22 saves on 25 shots. Varlamov saves all 28 shots for another shutout. And he breaks Glenn Rush's shutout record for the team all time. So, all-time longest shutout now belongs to Varlamov, and he's had an amazing season. Maybe he could swoop in and garner a lot of interest in the Vezina, and we'll see what happens. But for the Islanders, they've punched their ticket, and I still say, in a best-of-7 series, they're going to be tough. They're going to be a tough out, and I don't care who they play in the first round. All right, next up, New Jersey. So, New Jersey's decided to just ruin everything Flyers-related. That despite the reality that they had a hard time winning games for weeks there, that they're like, oh, yeah, Philly, yeah, we can beat Philly. So they did. They beat Philly. And the board that's sitting to my left here, they moved up that board as well because they beat Philly and made it look relatively easy. Starting with Bratt from Zacha and Ball at 5 minutes, that is Kevin Ball's first point. He's a very big hockey player, and any points you get are a bonus, but he's physically impressive. Flyers had no shots 7 minutes in. It was surprising. There were three early games here where one team had no shots through almost the first half of the period. The Flyers had a 3-on-1, but they kept overpassing. The Flyers don't have any confidence right now. There was a near goal for Philly. It was on the line. And before you say, oh, see, so Philly took the shot. Nope. Sharon Govich was actually the one that almost put it in his own net. And they celebrated it, and it wasn't in. It was on the line. So, all right. And then the referees review it and go, oh, look, it wasn't a goal. No, it never went in. Allison then had a shot that was saved by Blackwood. The Flyers pressed with a minute and a half left. Provorov had chances that were denied in the final 30 seconds. So we go to the second with it 1-0. It doesn't stay that way. Kuokkanen scores from Hughes and Sharon Govich at 52 seconds. There's Sharon Govich again. He's red hot right now for New Jersey. That makes it 2-0. The Flyers would get a power play during that period. The Devils get a power play. But at the end of the second period, it is 2-0 still. Third period, there's a power play for the Flyers. And what that leads to is a shorthanded goal for Nico Hischier at 5:14. The Devils would get a power play shortly after that. They don't score, but before the game's out, Sharon Govich gets a goal to add to his assist total. So a goal and an assist for Sharon Govich. And Hughes with 2 helpers in the game with the setup on that at 14:59. So it's 4-0. Only one question left. Will he? No, he doesn't. Farabee scores from Gostisbehere and Obe Kubel at 18:42 to ruin the shutout. But that's all Philly does tonight. They lose at home 4-1. Hey, Flyers fans, I can't imagine this is a lot of fun to watch at home. I'm so glad we're back watching the Flyers live. I can't change the channel because I'm here. So, New Jersey, 17-27-7 is the record now. Philly, 22-22-7. They were already eliminated, but it's tough to watch them go out like this. Blackwood, Bratt, and Sharon Govich are the 3 stars in Philly. Ouch. Shots, 9-5 Philly in the first, 13-9 Philly in the second, 10-7 Philly in the third. Oh yeah, and Philly outshoots them in every period. Final shots, 32-21 for the Flyers. Both teams go 0-for-2 on the power play. Hits, 30-18 for Philly. Block shots, 19-12 for New Jersey. Blackwood, 31 saves on 32 shots for him. Elliott, 17 saves on 21 shots. So Blackwood's finishing the season strong. New Jersey's finishing the season strong. And Philly is into that better luck next year category. So, yeah. Pittsburgh. There really isn't any doubt now who's the best in this division, right? And this is what I was waiting for. So it's not that I was necessarily being hard on Pittsburgh. I was just saying, all right, well, we'll see how they do against the better teams. They did pretty well against Boston, and now, yeah, they beat Washington. And Brian Rust beat Washington tonight. Really, this is the Jari Rust show more than anything else. So Rust scores on the first shot at 2:56. The Caps would press at the 7-minute mark. Samsonov stopped a good chance for Letang. There was a press by the Caps with 9 minutes left, so they had opportunities. Matheson had a point shot that was saved by Samsonov, but we go to the second period with it 1-0. Guess who scores at 26 seconds? Why, it's Brian Rust, of course. The shots were 4-3 for the Penguins at the half. Shortly after the halfway mark, Carter scores from Letang at 10:43. Tell me Carter's not looking at what's going on in LA and saying, I'm actually really glad I'm a Penguin. This is fun. Jari then denied Kuznetsov. It wasn't the first time in the period he denied him. Played him very well. We go to the third period. It's 3-0 for Pittsburgh. Shots were 3-1 for the Penguins at 6 minutes. So the Caps, they're needing to get healthy again. Penguins get a power play, and I know if you're a Pens fan, you're going, hey, wait a minute. No, sit down. I know, you guys haven't been healthy either. Penguins get a power play. The Caps get a power play after that. The Penguins get their turn. In the end, all those power plays just mean that there's extra numbers here. Your final numbers that matter. Pittsburgh wins 3-0. They go to 34-15-3. Capitals 32-14-5. I would not want to play Pittsburgh in the first round. Well, yes, the Islanders look like they'll be tough in the first round, best of 7. Pittsburgh, they're peaking at the right time. This is fantastic. And remember, Boston won today, and it looks like Boston's peaking at the right time. So right now, if the playoffs started at this moment, Pittsburgh and Boston would play in the first round. Yeah, that would be a fun series. So your 3 stars in this one, Jari, Rust, and Carter. Shots favor Washington in the first 8-7. They also lead in shots 10-8 after 2. And in the third period, Pittsburgh outshoots them 11-5. Final shots, 26-23 for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh 0-for-2 on the power play. Washington 0-for-1. Hits, 31-18 Washington. Block shots, 11-9 Pittsburgh. Jari saves all 23 for the shutout. And Samsonov, 23 saves on 26 shots at the other end of the rink. And if you're the Caps, there might be a little bit of concern starting to creep in. It looks like we may get the Capitals against the Islanders, the Penguins against the Bruins, could very well be possible. And both of those series could be a lot of fun. So yeah, you can sign me up for those series. And again, in a week and a half, 2 weeks' time, we will be looking at all those playoff series starting to take place. And I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know if I've mentioned that the last couple of days, but I'm really starting to look forward to the whole playoffs thing. Next up, last one on this board, remember the first of 4, Columbus and Carolina. The Blue Jackets, they came out and they played well, or you could say Carolina struggles against the lower-ranked teams in this division, right? Detroit and Columbus. It's weird, but either way, Carolina gets the points tonight, and they're still alive in the hunt for perhaps a President's Trophy. There's a chance they get it. I still think it's probably going to go to Vegas, but there's a chance it could go to Carolina. So Domi scores from Bjorkstrand and Robinson at 3 minutes. And Max Domi might have played his best game tonight as a member of the Columbus Blue Jackets. I don't know how much that's going to protect his job in the offseason. I don't know how much that's going to convince Jarmo to stay with him and make this work. But he played well tonight. Shots were 3-1 for Columbus at 6 minutes. McInnes had a rush chance that was turned aside. Nedeljkovic then denied Domi on his next opportunity as he was trying to make it 2-0. Shea had a shot that was stopped. Pretty good end-to-end play going on at this stage of the game. Slavin had a chance that was saved. Strong second half for the Canes, and they get paid off for that. Teravainen from Svechnikov and Aho at 18:44. Teravainen, very good since returning from injury. Huge difference maker. CBJ then tries to answer. Canes had a power play with 2.5, somewhere around there, seconds left in the period. So we go to the second period. Gerby was generating chances in that period. Gerby, very prominent tonight. Doesn't end up scoring, but he was prominent. Shots were 7-2 for Columbus, 7 minutes into the period. Heavy Canes pressure with 6 minutes left. Pesce was denied by Elvis Merzlikins, who had a very good game himself. Columbus avoids icing, and they get themselves a line change to help themselves out. Because, again, it was one of those things where they were being pressured and pressured and pressured. So get the center line and then dump it in, or dump it in on net. And they dumped it in on net. Svechnikov was denied in the final minute, but we go to the third period with it still tied at 1. Merzlikins robbed Svechnikov in the third period. Hamilton gets a chance. That was stopped. We get a power play for Columbus, and then it becomes a 5-on-3. Now, Stahl, as it becomes a 5-on-4, he gets a chance. That was stopped, but the whole thing is killed off. We go to overtime. Aho had a break after a Columbus collision. So Roslovic, and I'm trying to remember who the other player was for Columbus. I didn't write it down. Roslovic collides with one of his own guys. And so that leads to a 3-on-1 the other way, right? Because there's 2 Blue Jackets down. Canes then pressed after, and eventually it goes in. Hamilton from Nedeljkovic at 4 minutes and 7 seconds. Carolina wins 2-1 in overtime. They go to 34-10-7. Columbus goes to 16-25-11. And Columbus fans made a big deal of this. Columbus themselves made a big deal of this on social media. They were wearing blue shorts tonight instead of the red ones they normally wear with their white jerseys, and everybody thought that was fantastic. And I was thinking, I didn't even think that they normally wear red ones. I don't know. So 3 stars: Hamilton, Nedeljkovic, and Teravainen. Shots 13-9 Carolina in the first, 10-5 Columbus in the second, 12-11 Carolina in the third, and in the overtime 3-2 in favor of the Canes. Final shots 33-32 for Carolina. Columbus 0-2 on the power play. Carolina 0-1. Hits 26-17 Columbus. Block shots 22-13 for Columbus. Merzlikins 31 saves on 33 shots. Nedeljkovic 31 saves on 32 shots. And it was a pretty good night for Carolina in the end. Columbus gets a point. Detroit got 2. If you're caring about who's going to finish where in the draft order, it looks like Columbus has the inside track on drafting at least ahead of Detroit, depending on the result of the lottery. But I need to change boards. There's not a lot of tension left in terms of who's going to make the playoffs in the North, is there? So there was some concern a week ago that maybe Montreal might fall out. Nah, I never really took that very seriously. Frolik fans on one, and then ends up hitting Stahl on his second try. So Montreal starts out kind of with the Keystone Cops thing there. Connor Brown then hits the post. The shots were 5 apiece at 9 minutes. Strong road game for the Sens to that stage of the game. And Kulak had a shot that was blocked. He was back in the lineup tonight, so he was trying to figure things out. So we go to the second, early power play for the Habs. The shots were 5-3 in their favor at 7 minutes. Then Stützle opens the scoring from Zub and White at 14 minutes and 52 seconds. So 1-0 Ottawa. And I had kind of pegged this in the preview last night as this could be an upset. Last minute, the Sens get a power play. We go to the third period. Almost 1 minute, 5-on-3 for the Senators. And we end up with a shorthanded chance for the Habs during that. Who kill it off? Well done. Danault then hits the outside of the net. However, Chabot scores from Dadonov and Pinto at 5:51. So we're almost 6 minutes into the third period. It's 2-0 for Ottawa. Montreal fights back. First is Petrie from Toffoli at 8 minutes and 12 seconds. The Habs then get a power play, and it's my favorite Hab, Nick Suzuki. Not a well-kept secret that he's my favorite Hab. Toffoli and Petrie with the assists at 10 minutes and 37 seconds. The Habs then go back to the power play. It's unsuccessful. They pressed again after it ended. They were all over the Sens in that third period. There was another Habs power play with 6:23 left. The Sens really overwhelmed in that third period, but they did kill that off. And then Anderson ends up hitting the post. So we go to overtime. Early control to the Habs, and who gets the game winner? Cole Caulfield, his first NHL goal. That's the best way to do it. Overtime goal at home. Helps solidify your team's position in the playoffs. Petrie and Evans with the assists at 2 minutes and 25 seconds. So Petrie with a couple of assists to go with his goal tonight. And he's not in the 3 stars. Man, what do you have to do, right? So they win this one 3-2 in overtime. The Sens are eliminated. They're at 19, 27, and 5. The Montreal Canadiens 23, 18, and 9, and they're on the verge of clinching that spot. Toffoli, Chabot, and Caulfield are your 3 stars. Caulfield's got to be in there for the game winner, his first game-winning goal in his career, his first goal in his career. Shots were 9-8 Ottawa in the first, 11-10 Ottawa in the second. Like I said, they were playing a very good road game. And then the third period, Montreal outshot them 18-3, and then 3-0 in overtime. Final shots 39-23 in favor of Montreal. 0-for-2 Ottawa, 1-for-3 Montreal on the power plays. Hits 27-24 Montreal, so they out-hit them and outshot them badly. Block shots 20-11 for Ottawa. Gustafsson played well. 36 saves on 39 shots. Primo 21 saves on 23 shots. That should be a V in there. Gustafsson, not Gustafsson. Doesn't matter. He doesn't get extra saves for me spelling it that way. I'm gonna use a different color, just because that'll drive people, and by people I mean me, nuts later. So yeah, Gustafsson. That's fine. So yeah, Primo 21 saves on 23 shots. He gets himself a win. And Montreal's in pretty good shape for today. Tomorrow everybody could be back to complaining, but for tonight, not so much. All right, next up. I said it last night. Didn't I say last night I expected it to be like 7-1 Toronto tonight? And, Vancouver puts up more of a fight tonight than they did in other games, but in the end, it's still the same result. I am starting to wonder if the early goalie pull by Travis Green means more than just an early goalie pull, but I think people are looking for controversy throughout this. So, Leafs press 2 minutes in. VC misses a chance wide as it goes the other way. Mikheyev had a chance that was saved. Matthews denied by Demko. The shots were 4 apiece with 7 minutes left. And then the Canucks open the scoring. Pearson from Hughes and Horvat at 13:28. The lead doesn't last. Matthews scores his 37th. Marner and Foligno with the assists at 15:24. So Nick Foligno's piling up assists now with the Maple Leafs. The Leafs get a 2-on-1. Demko denies Thornton. And there was a late power play for the Canucks. Unsuccessful, and the only power play they had in the game. Second period, Campbell denied Pearson. And then Matthews scores number 38 from Marner at 3:50. So Marner with a couple of helpers there, and he had another great game. Campbell then stopped a good chance for Höglander. Mikheyev was denied. Demko was minus a stick after that. Schmidt blasts one wide. The Canucks were pushing, but there was a press by the Leafs with 5 minutes left. And you come out of that period 2-1 for Toronto, and that's where I kind of conceded, yeah, this is Toronto's game. Brooks proves that from Hall and Spets at 4:55, and the shots were 6-0 in favor of the Leafs at 9 minutes. Every game since the return, Vancouver's had a period where they're just a step behind. Galchenyuk then adds to it from Nylander and Tavares at 11:39, and this is where the early goalie pull happens by Vancouver. Thornton scores at 18 minutes, so with 2 minutes left from Dermott and Riley, but I think they pulled the goalie with almost 5 minutes left. Anyways, Toronto wins this one 5-1. It's not any kind of doubt. 33-13-5 is the record for Toronto. Vancouver 19-23-3, and they still have 11 games left. Yep, they still have 11 games left over the next 18 days. Yeah, so that's done. 3 stars: Matthews, Marner, and Campbell. Shots 11-6 Vancouver in the first, 12-10 Vancouver in the second, and then in the third, Toronto takes over. They outshot them 14-4 and outscored them 3-0. Final shots 30-27 Toronto. Both teams go 0-for-1 on the power play. Hits 25-23 Toronto. Block shots 13-6 Toronto. Demko saves 25 out of 29. Campbell saves 26 out of 27. Remember when Toronto had all that goaltending issue stuff and everybody was all panicky and Campbell sucks and Toronto may not even get first, and Edmonton's going to catch him, and this is all going to fall apart. And because, yeah, it's all gone away. It's been a couple of weeks, so that all just disappears, right? Okay, next up, St. Louis. This was a wildly unpredictable game. Not going to lie, very entertaining, and Minnesota kind of needed this one tonight. I have to be honest. This is not a game that Minnesota wants to lose. Now, I understand that they're not locked into third place, but they kind of are, right? Even though they're close, we will still see them as being behind Colorado and Vegas, and they're not in any danger of being caught by St. Louis. But, man, if St. Louis keeps ragdolling them in games, they didn't tonight. So, early jump for the Wild, and they didn't in the last one either, to be honest. That one they came back and tied, and they lost it in overtime. Bukestad had a shot that was stopped. Spurgeon stopped as the Wild were pressing early on there. Jaden Schwartz then had a post for St. Louis. Hartman nearly gets one. Highlight reel save for Kakkonen. And a number of them. The shots were 6-4 Blues halfway through that first period. Hoffman was denied in the second half. Zuccarello was setting up Hartman. He had set him up earlier, and it just is not working, but he kept trying. Kyrou then scored on a turnover at 17 minutes. And it's one of those killer goals where you're playing well, you're getting chances, and then just Kyrou takes advantage. So Kyrou is starting to put up points. That's good news if you're a Blues fan. And then a minute and 49 later, Sammy Blais scores from Bozak, and that was on a defensive breakdown by the Wild. Here's what I love. While the announcers are talking about the breakdowns for the Wild, the DJ's playing Communication Breakdown by Led Zeppelin. I love that kind of DJing. Last minute, the Wild had a power play, but we go to the second period. Blues finished off the kill. However, before the halfway mark at 6:53, Zuccarello scores from Kaprizov and Dumba. St. Louis gets that 2-goal lead back, however. Perron from Mikkola and O'Reilly at 12:41. So it's 3-1. The Blues ended up hitting a post. Kaprizov was denied. Blues get themselves a power play, and late in that period, Binnington making some really big saves. It looked like Binnington was ready to help the St. Louis Blues steal one in Minnesota and just keep that little bit of doubt in the back of the minds of the Minnesota Wild about themselves, right? Third period, Hartman absolutely snake bit. He had so many opportunities tonight, and they just wouldn't go in for him. The shots were 6-5 for the Wild at 7 minutes. Pretty wide open to start that period. Binnington having a great game, and then the second half of that period takes place. First, it's Sturm, who's been really deadly lately, from Brodin at 14:09. So Jonas Brodin, we'll hear his name again pretty quick here. Eriksson Ek had a break that was broken up by the defense. Goalie pull with 2 minutes left, and I have to say, Minnesota with the goalie pulled, pretty good. And it's odd too because they're against St. Louis, who also have good numbers 6-on-5. It's Brodin scoring from Fiala and Spurgeon at 19 minutes. So Brodin with a couple of points in the last 5 minutes of the regulation to force overtime. In overtime, the Blues were controlling it at around a minute and a half. They controlled a lot of it. And then Fiala from Zuccarello and Rask happens at 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Minnesota completes the 2-goal comeback late, and they win it in overtime. They go to 32-14-4. St. Louis drops to 23-19-7. Very important 1 point, however. They're still very, very likely to get 4th place. It would take a miraculous run by Arizona and a disastrous one for St. Louis for them to miss now. 3 stars, Fiala, Brodin, and Perron. Shots, 11-6 St. Louis in the first, 12 apiece in the second. In the third, 19-7 for Minnesota. They wanted it. In the overtime, both teams had 1 shot. Minnesota had the one that mattered. Final shots, 38-31 Minnesota. Both teams go 0 for 1 on the power play. Few power plays in these games tonight for the most part. Hits, 23-19 for St. Louis. Block shots, 7-6 St. Louis. Binnington, 34 saves on 38 shots. Kakkonen had 28 saves on 31 shots at the other end. So yeah, for St. Louis, they do get the point. For Minnesota, they get 2. And we'll see if this is a switch around for their momentum. Next up, Florida. Florida goes into Chicago and they survive. And they survive, and one of the 3 stars is probably going to be talked about by Canucks fans because they won't want to talk about this, so maybe they'll talk about this. Panthers get some early shots. Lankinen was sharp early. I swear he was. He was sharp early. The final shots would tell you he was busy as well. Panthers had a 3-on-1 that misfired. There was then a power play for the Hawks. It fails. However, Duclair would score for Florida shortly after that from Bennett and Forsling at 7:54. The Panthers then get a power play. Nikita Gusev was robbed. I think Gusev's played better so far for Florida than he was playing for New Jersey. It's not as dramatic a shift as it's been for Bennett, but still pretty good. Both goalies were busy in the first. Huberdeau had a fast break turned aside, and in the last minute, the Hawks had some chances. Couldn't get it to go, so we go to the second period. It's only 1-0. It's not going to stay low scoring. Gusev scores from Lomberg and Gudas at 2 minutes and 30 seconds to make it 2-0. Panthers then pressed at 6.5 minutes. Mitchell missed high on a good chance. Hawks get a power play, and they score on it. It's Connor Murphy from Connolly and Gaudette at 15:19, hashtag Firebenning. DeBrincat then scores at 16:11 from Gaudette, hashtag Firebenning. That made it 2-2. However, Barkov, he would score from Forsling and Duclair at 19:53. Oh, Gustav Forsling, hashtag Firebenning. So it's 3-2 for Florida after 2. I just kidding around. 3-2 for Florida after 2. Third period, Duclair scores from Barkov and Denisenko at 28 seconds. So Chicago had fought their way back to a tie. It's not tied in the last minute, and then it's really not tied the first minute of the next period. And it was a fantastic deke by Duclair, who's finally getting the goals that all those opportunities early in the season just wouldn't go, that they were the precursor for what's happening now. Tippett then scores from Bennett at 59 seconds. 3 goals in about a minute and a half of game time. Sam Bennett, another point. Primary assist right there on the goal by Tippett. Lankinen then stops a Uyghur shot. As you get the feeling it's 5-2, he can't allow another one. Power play then for the Hawks, and they do score on it. It's Kirby Dach scoring from Kurashev and Hagel at 12:28. They would pull the goalie with 2 minutes left, and they do score. Kubalik from Kane and DeBrincat at 19:42. Your final score is 5-4 in favor of the Florida Panthers. They go to 34-14-5. Chicago drops to 22-23-6. Their hopes take another hit in this one. 3 stars, Duclair, Gaudette, hashtag Firebenning, and Barkov, 3 stars. Shots in this one, 17-14 Florida in the first, 13-9 Florida in the second, 12 apiece in the third. Final shots, 42-35 in favor of the Florida Panthers. Power plays, Florida 0 for 1, Chicago 2 for 4. Hits, 31-27 Chicago. Block shots, 18-13 Chicago. Bobrovsky saves 31 out of 35. And Lankinen saves 37 out of 42. And now we need to go to the next board. It's driving me nuts. One of the games I was watching tonight, they played Yeah by Usher, and now I've got it stuck in my head. And now you might have it stuck in yours as well. All right, speaking of driving me nuts. Now, I thought I had talked to Dallas about these overtime loss points and how much I don't like them. But they decided tonight that they did. And it probably submarines their chances of playoffs. Dallas, they just have the one game in hand on Nashville. Now Nashville sits 6 games above 500. Dallas sits 4 above, and Dallas needs to finish ahead of Nashville on points because they don't have as many wins as Nashville. So shots were 3-1 for the Stars at 4.5 minutes, and they did play well in that first period. So did Saros. The Preds press at 5 minutes. There was a power play then for Nashville. Stars would get a power play after that. Really aggressive penalty kill for Nashville, and Granlund would end up with a chance on that as well. And it was a hard-hitting first period. The hits weren't that high, comparatively speaking, at the end of the game, but it was a hard-hitting first. Second period, not a lot really to write about. Good first half for the Preds. Hudobin mishandled one behind the net. He ends up getting away with it, one of those scary moments. And there was some scrumminess going on in the second half. A lot of shots, a lot of saves, both goalies looking dialed in. And it was reminding me of Tampa and Detroit earlier in the day. Third period, Hudobin went down on a collision with Cunnin, and I know Hudobin wanted a call there, but Cunnin was pushed into him, so you're not going to get a call. He stays in, and like I said, it's legit. There was no call to be made there. There was a press by the Predators 8 minutes in. Goodbranson had a near miss as well. And then we get 2 minutes of 4-on-4, but we end up going to overtime. In overtime, Hintz can't get one. The Predators then got a power play at 58 seconds. And I was pretty sure that they were going to get a goal and win it there. They didn't. There was a close call for Forsberg, but the Stars did manage to kill it off. And then they don't kill this off. Haula gets the goal from Ekholm at 3 minutes and 32 seconds. So not long after they killed off the penalty, they lose that game in overtime. They drop to 21, 17, and 13. Nashville 28, 22, and 2. Really taking a stranglehold on that spot. Chicago loses. They get that extra point over Dallas. All of it is important. The 3 stars in this one are Haula, Saros, and Hudobin. Again, when it's a 1-0 game, your 3 stars should be pretty straightforward. Both goalies and the guy who scores the goal. Shots, 12-6 Dallas in the first, 14-11 Nashville in the second, 9-5 Nashville in the third, and in the overtime, Nashville had all 5 shots. Final shots, 34-28 for Nashville, and they just wanted it more. As this game went along, it was obvious they wanted it more. Power plays, Dallas just has the one. They don't score. Nashville 0 for 2. Hits, 24-17 for Nashville. Block shots, 16-10 for Dallas. Hudobin saves 33 out of 34. Saros saves all 28 shots. Both goalies very good. And for Nashville, they are that much closer now to clinching that final spot. And it'll be interesting to see how it works out for them in the playoffs. Really depends who they match up against, right? Next up, Colorado. This ends up being kind of a test for Colorado, doesn't it? And yet for San Jose, this proves what I said when I was looking at how the West was going to turn out. And how San Jose had nothing but difficult games. They had to kind of run the table against some pretty fantastic teams the rest of the way. And it's just not going to happen. The Avs had a fast break chance stopped. The shots were 5-2 in their favor at 7 minutes. Kozanosh keeping it 0-0. He had another good game tonight. Kozanosh has definitely earned the right to be one of the 2 goalies for San Jose next year. Landeskog took a skate to the chest. That was scary. Where if the skate had come up, it could have got kicked in the face by a skate. It hits him in the chest. Of course, they had the chest protector, but still, that's one of those scary things you don't want to see happen in game. There was a late power play for the Avs. Carries over into the second period where the Sharks finished off the penalty kill. And then the Sharks get a power play, and Barabanov has fit in really, really well with San Jose. Hashtag firebenning. From Hurdle and Carlson at 4:25, he gets the first goal of the game. The Avs then get a power play at the half. There's extended 4-on-4 time after that. But then Colorado, they're back. This game to me really proves Colorado is back. McKinnon from Timmins and Rantanen at 13:08, and then Burakovsky from Comfort at 16:06. So that makes it 2-1 entering the third period. Third period, Rantanen had a chance that was saved. Kozanosh is the one keeping this close. The Sharks get a power play. That was a no, and then it's Nemeth scoring from Makar at 9:05. The Avs would get a power play. And during that power play, the Sharks score shorthanded. So looking at the play, it did look like it was borderline, go ahead, challenge it for goalie interference. So they challenged it. The referees look at it and decide, nah, it's a goal. So shorthanded goal for Couture from Kane at 9:55, and that also means now it's a 4-on-4 because of the fact that it was a failed challenge. San Jose would not score on the power play that was after that. Rantanen then scores at 15:34. That made it 4-2 in favor of Colorado. This is where it gets interesting. Goalie pull with 3.5 minutes left. San Jose does manage to get a goal. Hurdle from Burns and Barabanov at 17:47. Barabanov getting top 6 minutes. at times during these games for San Jose. It's been interesting. And then they pull the goalie again, and Erik Karlsson had chances missing wide. He had chances being deflected and blocked. Erik Karlsson really desperately wanted to tie this, could not get it done. San Jose drops to 20, 26, and 5. It's done for San Jose. For Colorado, 33, 12, and 4. Their hope to finish first in the division is still alive. We'll see what happens. 3 stars in this one. McKinnon, Rantanen, and Timmins is the 3rd star. Shots in this one, 15-10 Colorado in the first, 21-4 Colorado in the second, and 11-8 San Jose in the third. Final shots, 44-25 for Colorado. Power plays, busy in this one. 1 for 4 for San Jose, 0 for 4 for Colorado. Hits, 10-6 San Jose. Block shots, 19-10 San Jose. Kozanosh saves 40 out of 44, and Dubnyk saves 22 out of 25. So, yeah, pretty busy night. And now I have to go to board number 4. Board number 4 it is, and we're starting off with the Battle of Alberta, Calgary and Edmonton. So the Oilers came out tonight kind of looking like a team that knows, hey, if we beat these guys, we probably won't see them for the rest of the year. Early chances for the Oilers, they would get a power play. They came out very sharp tonight. They score on the power play. It's McDavid from Draisaitl and Barrie at 4:46. Ethan Bear then makes it 2-0 with a goal from McDavid and Draisaitl at 7:19. So don't look now, McDavid red hot yet again. Flames then get a power play. The Oilers would kill that off. The Flames would get another. And at the horn, these teams let each other know they don't like each other and they're not on each other's Christmas lists. Second period, Markstrom stops a McDavid shot. Gaudreau gets a break and he hits the crossbar. Oilers get a power play. It is unsuccessful. Stone actually made a really nice save. Michael Stone made a really nice save on a shot by McDavid. And then after that power play is over, Gaudreau scores from Tkachuk and Tanev at 10:48, making up for the crossbar that he hit. Flames then get a power play. There was too many men on the ice for the Oilers. The Oilers would kill that off. And then Backlund misses a possible tying goal wide. We go to the third period. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had a chance that was saved in the third. The shots were 4-3 for the Oilers at 7 minutes. Doing a good job of making sure they're playing back and the Flames aren't getting any really great chances. Giordano had a point shot that was saved. And then Tkachuk and Barrie had a tangle that led to a 4-on-4. There's a lot of this going on tonight. Guys just get tangled up with each other, just kind of fall over. Sometimes there are penalties, sometimes there aren't. Smith saved an Anderson shot. Gaudreau then had a giveaway. Markstrom made the save after that. I think it went to Nugent-Hopkins. Yeah, it was an iffy giveaway there by Gaudreau. Then there's another scrum that led to a 4-on-4. So the Flames pulled the goalie with 2 minutes left. They were only down by 1, but the score gets ugly as Archibald scores from Draisaitl and McDavid at 18:54. So that's 3 points for McDavid, and he's back. Goalie pull again because they need this game, and Nurse scores another empty netter from Archibald and Draisaitl. Draisaitl with 4 assists on the night. He's not one of the 3 stars, and that's at 19:34. The Oilers win this. They go to 30, 17-2. Calgary drops to 22, 25-3, and it's almost done. Any hope of a Flames comeback and making the playoffs is basically gone. 3 stars, Smith, Markstrom, and McDavid. Like I said, 4 assists for Draisaitl. He's not one of the stars. Shots, 10-7 Edmonton in the first, 12-9 Calgary in the second, 11-10 Calgary in the third. Final shots, 30-29 for Calgary. I know, 2 of those assists are on empty netters, so I understand it. It's just weird. Power plays, Calgary 0 for 3, Edmonton 1 for 2. Hits, 39-26 for Calgary. Blocked shots, 16-7 for Edmonton. Markstrom saves 25 out of 27. Smith saves 29 out of 30. Smith's a pretty good goaltender. I know everybody, I keep seeing people saying, well, the Oilers are going to melt down in the playoffs because Smith's not going to be any good. Okay, maybe, but the problem is he's been pretty good for most of the season. So the concept that he's just going to magically fall apart in the playoffs, I don't know. I mean, there have been goaltenders who just late in their career suddenly have a run in them, and maybe Smith's one of those guys. So I'm not going to write him off. Just because of other playoffs, I'm not going to write him off. Because that's what people used to do with Marc-Andre Fleury. And he was playing in net tonight for Vegas against Arizona. There's a segue. And Arizona made this far more entertaining than it looked like it was going to be. Vegas, great start. They outshot them 5-1 at 6 minutes and just kept doing that. Power play for Vegas, it's unsuccessful. They do need to work on that power play. However, William Karlsson scores from Marchessault and Smith at 10:15. And with 5 minutes left in that first period, the shots were 14-1 in favor of Vegas. Yeah, they were playing very, very well. So we go to the second period. Things get kind of scrummy in the first minute. The Coyotes come out of that with a power play. Yurcho had a post, but Stone didn't. He gets the goal from Pacioretty and Stevenson at 5 minutes and 14 seconds. So they kill off that penalty, and then Stone gets a goal. He has 20 goals on the season. Not the first time he's had that. Vegas then gets a power play. Again, that's a no. Shots were 10-7 for the Coyotes with 4.5 minutes left, but they were down 2-0. Stevenson had a chance that was saved. Stone got tangled up with Keller. Both of them get a penalty on that. So in the last minute, we're at a 4-on-4 because Stone and Keller just both fall down. It's the same thing as over here. Third period, Vegas gets a power play. That ends up with 3 shots. No goals, however. Kemper then stopped a Colasar shot. And then it's Fisher, who's gone forever without a goal, and now he's got one last game and one this game. He scores from Krause and Chychrun at 9:04. Then there's another power play for Vegas that follows that. That was a no. The Coyotes get a power play, and they score on it. It's Dvorak from Keller and OEL at 14:48. Vegas's penalty kill streak ends at 21 in a row that they've killed off. Late, the Coyotes get another power play, and that has 1 shot. So we go to overtime. Vegas controlled it off the faceoff. Stevenson had a shot that was saved. Karlsson misses one high, and that's William Karlsson, right? Too many Coyotes on the ice, so Vegas gets the power play. Now, 4-on-3 is a different beast than a 5-on-3, and 4-on-3, Vegas calls the timeout, and they do score on this. So it's the 5-on-4 I think they need to work on. 4-on-3, they got it pretty well. Marchessault from Pietrangelo at 3:04. That ends it. Vegas ends the night 1 for 6 on the power play. The app said 0 for 5, but I realized they're 1 for 6. It just didn't have that in there at the time that I rolled the numbers on the board. Vegas wins 3-2 in overtime. They go to 36-12-2. For Arizona, they get a point, but they're 22-24-6, and their hopes just keep fading because St. Louis still has 3 games in hand on them. Marchessault, Stone, and Fisher are your 3 stars. Shots in this one, 16-3 Vegas in the first, 12-8 Arizona in the second, 8-6 Vegas in the third, and then 2-0 Vegas in the overtime. Final shots 34-21 for the Golden Knights. Power plays, Vegas 1 for 6, Arizona 1 for 4. Hits 39-21 for Arizona. Block shots 18-9 Arizona. Fleury saves 19 out of 21. Kemper saves 31 out of 34. And with that win, Marc-Andre Fleury now moves into a tie for third with 489 career wins, same as Roberto Luongo. So not too shabby, and he should be able to pass Luongo before the season's out. And then getting to Patrick Waugh and Marty Brodeur is a little more difficult. But he should have no problem passing Luongo by the end of this season. And then next year we'll see where he ends up. And I mean in terms of wins. I have no doubt he's still going to be Vegas Golden Knight. He should be, right? There's expansion coming, so with Leonard and Fleury, you just never know. But yeah. All right. We'll see what happens. All right, last game of the night. Promise there's not another board. There legit isn't. This is the 4th of the 4 boards that I have made up. And this proves that I do have 4 of them made up with the tape on them and all that. So the Anaheim Ducks, classy. This was very classy tonight. Ryan Miller gets the start, which was unexpected for me. I figured, when they announced his retirement, and you see graphics of 390 wins, it's like, okay, so he's not starting again. All of the players were on the ice for warm-ups wearing Miller jerseys with the number 30, but they were various jerseys. So they had the regular jerseys home and away. They had the orange jerseys they're wearing for tonight, as well as the Wild Wing. So I thought that was kind of cool that they had them warming up wearing Miller jerseys. So the shots were 3-1 for the Kings 4 minutes into this. They had the early jump, but not for long. Zegras scores from Comtois and Larson at 7:44, and I'm telling you, Zegras is going to be a star in the NHL. I have no doubt about Zegras or about Drysdale. I think the future is very bright for Anaheim. Kings then get a power play. That was unsuccessful. The Ducks get a power play as well. Unsuccessful. There was a late press by the Kings. And what's interesting is those power plays back-to-back, that's it. No more power plays in the game. Just done. A lot of games like that tonight. Second period, Miller made a nice early save. Zegras had a line press at 4:30, meaning his line was pressuring and looked pretty good in that second period. Ducks had a 3-on-1. Jones fires it wide. However, Heinen would score from Larson and Fowler at 12:38. So Larson with a couple of assists. And then Delorier scores about 30 seconds after from Grant and Heinen at 13:09. Nice to see Delorier on the board again. I think that's his 5th of the season. So third period. Things get scrummy in the first minute, which leads to a 4-on-4. Fleury, some nice shot blocking by Fleury. So he comes over from Carolina, and they've basically put him in a prominent role, and he's exceeding expectations so far. So he's crowded out by a Carolina defense that doesn't really require his services, and he's performing very well in Anaheim. That's a win when you get into the whole trade thing. Win for him, a win for the Ducks, and it's not something that really hurts the Canes either. Jones then gets on the board from Heinen and Drysdale at 1:48. So Drysdale on the board with an assist, and that was on his own rebound too. So Peterson might have been able to control that a little better. Peterson did not have a great game. Not going to pretend he did. And then Lemieux breaks the shutout, which I got to admit I groaned when this happened because I wanted a shutout for Miller in his last game. Fleury, it's Lemieux. Walker gets the assist at 3:51, and it bounced in off of Lemieux. So it's kind of bouncing. It's not like Lemieux took a great slap shot, and he just kind of bounces in. It's one of those goals that you look at after and you're like, does he have to break the shutout like that? So Larson restores the big lead from Fleury at 5:14. So Larson with a goal and 2 assists. The Kings press at 6.5 minutes. Delorier nearly makes it 6-1. And then Comtois does. He scores from Zegras and Terry at 11 minutes and 10 seconds. So Zegras with the goal and an assist tonight. And it's a pretty good night for their scorers. Not a great night for Cal Peterson. But the Kings, before the game's out, they get another one. And it's the first NHL goal for Bjornfot from Kempe and Athanasiou at 18:12. And Bjornfot's had opportunities before now. And so good for him. Congratulations to him. Really wish they hadn't scored against Miller tonight. But that makes your final score 6-2. The Ducks go to 16-29-7. The Kings, rough week for them, 19-24-6. 3 stars. All 3 were given to Ryan Miller. When I'm looking at the app says all 3 stars are Ryan Miller. And you know what? I have no argument with that whatsoever. Last game of his career, and what a way to go out. He goes out victorious, and his numbers get better with tonight's result. He had some scary-looking numbers before tonight. Shots, favored Anaheim in the first and the second, 10-9 in the first, 12-4 in the second. In the third, LA outshoots Anaheim 12-11. Final shots 33-25 for the Ducks. Both teams 0-for-1 on the power play. Hits 21-14 Anaheim. Blocked shots 18-14 in favor of LA. Peterson 27 saves on 33 shots. Miller 23 saves on 25 shots for win number 391. Just to ruin all those pretty graphics they made a few days ago, congratulating him on a career of 390 wins, because the Ducks like to mess with people. Even though I think they were one of the ones that actually put out a graphic that showed how many career wins he'd had. Kudos to Ryan Miller. Great career. I would have worn Ducks tonight, just for the record. I would have worn my Ryan Miller, which is a beautiful jersey I got from Cool Hockey, and I love that jersey so much. But I had to wear Islanders. I felt like the back-to-back shutouts over the Rangers are just maybe the biggest story of the last few days, and it's impressive. So we'll see how things go the rest of the way. But let me know your thoughts regarding any of these games in the comments section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video, and yes, the power rankings will be done after this. And thank you guys so much for all your support. It means a lot. I will talk to you again soon.